Today's video is why you should ignore what Warren Buffett does. The truth is, I always see this in videos and news articles. There's always a thing about what is Warren Buffett buying? What is he selling? And my answer is, who cares? It doesn't matter. The truth is that Warren Buffett is in a very different position than you. For one thing, he can only buy very, very, very large companies. That's why he bought Apple. And I think Berkshire Hathaway now owns about like 5% of all of Apple's stock. So that's just an example of how when he looks for something, he's looking for a really giant company. Whereas the truth is that there's a lot of money to be made buying mid-cap stocks. In fact, that's what I'm presently looking for. I think I will probably divert more money towards the Vanguard mid-caps because they actually tend to do rather well compared to the large caps or the small caps, and they're a little bit more anti-fragile or robust than the small caps. Those tend to take a big dive when there's a collapse because they don't have a big cushion, whereas the mid caps, they're a lot stronger. Now, recently Warren Buffett, sometimes you can learn things from what he's doing. For instance, he sold airline stocks, but he kind of sold them a little bit late. A lot of people knew that airlines are inherently fragile. They're probably not a great investment, and there's just a lot of issues with that. Whereas if you were to start now, if you focus on what Warren Buffett is doing, you're looking at these extremely large companies that are extremely difficult to grow. I mean, I know that right now we're looking at Amazon and Apple stock, and a lot of them have been moving up so fast that you almost think that they're like penny stocks. They're moving up so quickly, but if you think about it, these are trillions. These companies are worth trillions now, and it's almost ridiculous to consider buying it just because Warren Buffett is. Let's see, what's this about? This ode to the coyote, and my brother is not too happy with the coyote because it ate one of our cats once. Yep, that is. So when you think about what Buffett is doing, he's actually been public about this. He said, look, if you don't have billions of dollars like him, you should basically just buy Vanguard S&P, although I would recommend the mid cap. I think that actually would go up more than the S&P. And the major reason why is because since you have less money, you're able to buy these smaller companies. So if you think about it, if he were to invest in these small companies, he would push up the price too much. And even if you bought 100% of the shares, it wouldn't really change the dynamics too much for Berkshire because Berkshire is already too big. And the truth is, anyone buying Berkshire Hathaway stock is also probably going to get subpar returns because it's like a rule of physics. As your company gets so big, it's going to become even more and more difficult for you to actually continue to move the needle any further. So ironically, you're out there saying, hey, I'm not that rich. The truth is that actually is it's actually an advantage in many ways because you have the opportunity for things to go up a lot more precisely for that reason. And another reason why is because if you think about Warren Buffett, he oftentimes misses the mark on major companies, mainly out of stubbornness and maybe because he doesn't really understand a lot of things. Like he wishes he had bought Apple a lot sooner, and the same is true for MasterCard and Visa. Sometimes he just doesn't understand the technology. And in the old days, he used to really be big on banks because he really understood the issue of it's almost like passive income. You pay people a minimal amount and then you're laying the money out. It's kind of easy to consider, but now we're at a weird time period in our history where banks are doing very, very poorly under this low interest rate environment. So he got that wrong, and he sold quite a bit of his bank stocks, and now he's actually doing something you never would have expected him to. He's actually bought gold mining companies. So that shows you that you need to use your own judgment. You don't have to follow what some old guy says. You should actually just think, what actually makes sense? What should I actually buy? I'm not even here to tell you exactly what to buy. More my goal is to actually inspire and give you ideas on what you should actually consider buying. Of course, you have to also hit the like button because if you don't, you won't get inspiration on what you should buy next. Another reason why it doesn't make sense to focus too much money, too much attention on what Warren Buffett is doing is because he gets deals precisely because he has so much money. So, like for instance, he was able to get warrants on Goldman Sachs, I believe, during the depths of the Great Recession. You don't get that opportunity because I don't know, you have $1 to $10,000 or 100,000. That's still pennies for the stock market. When you're talking about someone like Buffett, he was able to get really great opportunities precisely because he has that liquidity and the money right when people need it. So you're not going to get that opportunity. So it pays to not really focus on what he's doing. You need to focus on what kind of opportunities you personally have. That's really what makes sense. And these opportunities exist all the time. I recommend checking out investors.com is another great source of objective investor intelligence and information. Look at this here, and we're in Malibu, and I guess people donated money for something or other. I'm not sure what this is. City of Malibu. See, when you are really rich, this is what you will be using your money on. Once you make a lot of money from your Vanguard ETF, you can then donate it to get a tile of your. You will be able to donate it and get a tile with your name on it. That will be.
How come you haven't donated?
Why would I donate for that? I don't. It's a little bit of a. It shows you the narcissism that exists when you do have a certain amount of money. You want your name to show kind of your legacy. What you did something. You existed, so you will buy a little tile over there, and people will remember you. Is that what you would do? Another thing that I always think is really bizarre is when someone tells you to make an investment in something that they don't personally invest in. Like for instance, Warren Buffett, he tells you to buy the S&P, but does he buy the S&P? No, he doesn't. He doesn't buy the S&P. Although I think recently the Berkshire has actually bought a lot of SPY ETFs. So, but Warren Buffett did not get rich buying index funds, even though he tells other people to invest in index funds. So that's a little strange. I always think someone who actually makes money in a particular way should actually tell other people how they did it, give you the insight how it happened. But instead, he actually tells you to do something that's very different than what he actually personally did. Isn't that right? What do you think about that when someone tells you to do something that they didn't do? Warren Buffett, he says to buy the SPY, but he didn't do that.
I like to see what they're doing.
And another thing about that's important is I think he missed the boat on quite a number of investments. For instance, Apple when it was the early stages, Amazon, and Bitcoin is another one. And I think it's because he kind of has a tunnel vision. So that's another reason why I don't think that I pay too much attention to what he has to say, because it could be that he doesn't really understand everything, and which is understandable. Nobody does, even I don't. So hopefully this video was quite fascinating, and subscribe and click the like button, and we'll definitely talk in another video.